In this video, I want to talk about religious blending. There's a lot of fun things going on that are kind of confusing. I call them fun. That's an analog. That means not fun. All right. My name is Dan Paulson, and the reason I'm making this video is because it was a nice and polite conversation with somebody on another channel that is teaching how Jesus is teaching to clear out the pineal gland. And I'm like, nope. I put a comment saying, no, that's not right, that it's not the pineal gland, it's the mass of memories. We had a polite exchange back and forth. I don't need to get into it all. But that's the kind of blending I'm talking about. There's something going on that needs to be looked at a little bit deeper. I'm perhaps the biggest advocate that I'm aware of that can look at all of the material and realizes that they're built on a core, that there's one thing in there. So as we're beginning to look at things like that, we're going to see that there are some similarities that would justify that blending. You know, in some places, you're supposed to clear out your third eye. You're supposed to meditate on a chakra. And then Jesus tells you to clear the mote out of your eye. So you're like, oh, wait a minute. There's the eye again. So Jesus must be talking chakra too. And that's what I find, and that's where I find it breaks down as I get into the West, into cultures. I find channels, groups, places that are like, I don't know, it's almost like modern flower children, the hippie, peaceful, Jesus taught Kundalini yoga kind of people that are very happy about life and are doing fine. Did Jesus teach Kundalini yoga? Hell no. Kundalini yoga is a recent invention, so. All right. But people don't know that, so they just jump into it, and it gives them purpose. Here's at the end of the day what is important. There's something that people want in life. That whether they know it, whether they think about it, whether they can communicate it, everybody is looking to be happy. And as long as you're happy, you don't really have any issues. You're not you're just going to live happy. When you're not happy, there are issues. That's when life isn't okay. So we're all looking for a certain way of life. And if you're doing something that is, if you're believing that Jesus taught Kundalini yoga, so you're going to sit and meditate on your pineal gland and that makes you feel better, go for it. Is that what he taught? No. Does it matter? No. Do you believe it? Some people do. Yeah, to the point that they believe that if they research, they would have to go, yeah, it's downstream. I'm sorry. You got to do some research, but I won't even go there. What is important is that people are happy. As long as they're doing something with the religion and morphing it in ways that are, who cares? You want to clear something out. The problem is this. The pineal gland is not the third eye. Now stick around because I'm not going to just say that. What I'm going to do is talk about what the third eye actually is. And if you call the pineal gland the third eye and you meditate on that and you feel better, here's what's happening. Humans, when we're born, we're living through our higher self, except we have no mental cognition. We have to develop first. So we go through life and we develop in our brain, memories, all of our capacity, our cognitive skills, all of that comes on in life experiences. We're going through experiences and learning and having and processing, and we become products of that bundle of things right there. That right there is our third eye. The two eyes here are physical eyes, but what is the third eye? When it gets to the mind, there has to be some way we perceive life. We're taking in data from these eyes. These eyes don't tell us anything except there's something there. They don't tell if it's good or bad. That lion coming to eat me, when I look at it with my eyeballs do not give me the fear. They just give me the information. My ears, the sounds, all the other things come in and process into my mind. And right there where they get processed and evaluated and how I perceive life, that right there is the third eye. That right there is how you perceive life. You're actually living through that. And we have to. Everybody has one. You don't turn it on. You don't turn it off. You grow it and you manipulate it if you learn how to. If not, but that comes in the bundle of memories. If you're trying to do it with the pineal gland and you're succeeding and feeling better, what people are perhaps doing is maybe they've got no real big baggage, no issues, things like that from life. And they don't know that. They're just living unaware, looking at life, and they realize, oh, I can rise up above this and not be connected to it. Instantly, they could just feel like, oh my God, it just worked. I meditated on this. And what they really have done is just kind of let go emotionally, and they're living through the higher awareness. They'll say that an energy pours through you. All of the material teaches that everything comes from this source here. Taoism, everything comes from the same source. Abrahamic material, I will bless those who bless you and curse those who curse you. This isn't some thinking in the background. This is an automated process. There's nothing unique in anybody's material except the way that they're holding it in verbiage that is meant to encode the teaching, as well as have a carrier shell that helps manage a population. Now, it's a very difficult process to turn inward and face your memories. We're living through those and we're flowing through life in that. And for people that can't just say, well, I meditated on that and boom, all of a sudden my life is wonderful. I have no issues anymore. My mind is clear. All that mental turmoil, I don't have anything like that. If that happened for you, then count yourself lucky. Okay, people like me can't do that. I came from a home of abuse, of suicide, of more abuse, of being told what a worthless piece of crap you are all the time, running away, being molested, having a really difficult life. At no point in time could I sit and go, oh, I meditated on my pineal gland, it cleared out, and my life is wonderful now. You know what? That doesn't work, because the pineal gland isn't my perception. That bundle of memories is. I have to go after the bundle of memories. If I hate somebody or if I hate something, and what does Jesus teach? If you want a good flow in life, when you come to the altar to leave a gift, what does that mean? You're looking for graces. I want a better life. And you remember you've got out against your brother. You've got issues unresolved. Go resolve that first. Then come back and your Father who sees in secret, which means your life will automatically just be better. You don't have to seek good graces. It'll improve. Jesus is not teaching right there, if you process that, to meditate on the pineal gland. He's teaching you to go clear out the third eye by manipulating the memories through forgiveness, by not holding on to the pain and the anguish. These are not being interpreted when you're telling people he's teaching Kundalini yoga and to meditate on the pineal gland. He is not. He is telling you to go after your hurt memories and to change them and to do the forgiveness, and your life is going to improve. We become a bundle of this anger, this hatred, this judgment, this shame, and we live through that. And if you want to really, really go to the third eye, that's it right there. The pineal gland, go for it. If that works for you, go for it. If that made your life better by doing that, I would be astounded. I would say you really didn't have issues like me. The people that can do that and they just say, yep, that's all I needed to do and everything is fine, then you didn't have anything to begin with. Or all of those, the times that you got molested and beat and raped and all that kind of stuff, they're just nothing to you. They don't mean anything to you somehow. And if that works, I guess. I don't know. I don't think it works that way. I really don't. I think people say that and they don't really want to face it, and they'll say they feel better, but that they still go off on their own and they'll sit there and mull and go, yeah, I really do have stuff in here. Because that's the third eye right there. If your third eye is clear, that stuff doesn't happen. You're fine. Okay, I wanted to say that. I wanted to reply and I wanted to respond that it's okay. I mean, I'm like, whew, boy, I see the morphing and I understand why. It would be like, though, I know that Jesus and Buddha teach the same thing. I'm going to do an example here to show how this interpretation works before I end the video. But if I were to tell people Buddha, in his lesson of karma, teaches this law of cause and effect, which is in the material. There's a cause and effect, and you look at the universe and go, wow, everything does work by cause and effect. Oh, okay, I see that. You go to Jesus, and he says, the measure you mete unto others will be likewise meted unto you, held in different verbiage that you go, okay, that's mental, it's a process here, it's the same thing, it's cause and effect. That this is a cause and effect teaching, and people would go, okay, I see that correlation. And no time would I just show up and go, you know what, Jesus teaches karma. That sounds so, it's like, what? No, he doesn't. They both teach cause and effect. You got to explain that better. To say things like Jesus, taught Kundalini yoga or taught the pineal gland, no, it's a body of work that what Jesus has there. It's not one verse or a couple of verses. There's an entire body of work that if you went through, in fact, let's take something right from the first page of the Buddha, the first page from Lao Tzu, and I'm talking about the Dhammapada, the Tao Te Ching, and from Jesus, from the Sermon on the Mount, the Sermon on the Mount. Let's take those three verses and compare them and see what happens. I just put them together on a Word document here for easy access. Okay, starting from Lao Tzu, Tao Te Ching, Mitchell translation, right from page 1. Free from desire, you realize the mystery. Now we have to unwrap this. We went to the master on the mountain and said, Master, I need help. What is life about? What do I do to straighten things out? And this is what he says, free from desire, you realize the mystery. So we leave and we think, I'm hungry, my clothes are ragged. How can I be free from that? How can I be free from the desire of that? And what we need to understand eventually is that this transitions into our mind, that it's a mental process. Now, we learned that in Lao Tzu's work in another verse, but right here, so we need to understand this is a mental process. So the desire doesn't mean that I am physically or mentally desiring this. It means that it's something that I'm hanging on to. And as long as I'm hanging on to something, I'm not going to realize the mystery, but free from hanging on to things, I realize the mystery of life. So how would I might reword this here? Free from judgments. Let's put that way too. We have a free life or something like that. Yeah, okay. You know, the term judgments here, but let's make sure we very carefully define that. This is not just good stuff, but bad stuff. If something happened to you and you feel bad about it, that's a judgment right there. And you're living through that. These are the things that are going to continue to hurt us in life. So it's important to know that. And it's also why this is difficult. We're going to have to address things sometimes that we don't want to address. But there are people who will say, you know what, if I don't address them, I will continue to live through them this way. So you either do or don't. I'll just highlight that there. The Buddha, asking him the same thing. I got a couple of modifications here, just making it gender neutral. It doesn't need to say man and him. In this case, there's not a mental hierarchy. It applies to everybody. All that we are is the result of what we have thought. It is founded on our thoughts. It is made up of our thoughts. What does that say right there? We're a product of our mental thinking. If a person speaks or acts with pure thought, happiness follows him like a shadow that never leaves. Well, by golly, free from judgments, we have free life. If a person speaks or acts with pure thought, free from judgments, pure thought, could it be? Sure enough, you turn it into your mind and go, you don't have anything, you don't have judgments. Happiness follows them like a shadow that never leaves. You realize the mystery. We have a free life. We could actually just put that same thing right here and say that's basically what that means once we interpret it. But we need to interpret it in this manner. Oh, that's fine. Now we get to the Sermon on the Mount. Jesus, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. We've got something different going on. It's being held in a different way. In this case, the genre has changed. It is no longer about you. It's in a carrying case. It is in a carrying case that says if you don't turn inward, you can use it to turn outward. But if you turn inward, these become analogs. Poor in spirit. Spirit's a tricky one, and I'll tell you why. In all of the material, they are using analogous verbiage that is somehow meant to describe that mental process. The spirit is what is acting out in the background. You're thinking and you're talking and you're moving down the road. Meanwhile, you get to where you're going without ever even thinking about it, pulling up the map or anything like that. You know where you're going. There's something operating in the background. That's the spirit. Free from desire. Pure thought. Poor in spirit. Those are the same. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Kingdom of heaven. Happiness follows like a shadow that never leaves. You realize the mystery. You begin to see that these are exactly the same teachings held by different masters at different times, different cultures, different verbiage. Free from judgments, we have a free life. Free from judgments, we have a free life. Free from judgments, we have a free life. That's why I harp on things the way I do. That there's a way to look at these, that they come online as something identical, and as long as we're blending in weird ways, it's not quite doing the right thing, even if it's okay. Okay, I think to sum it up then, that claim I made that the third eye is not the pineal gland, I think that if we interpret the material, and if you're okay with the interpretation, then you would have to say, yeah, that actually that is what the third eye is. It's what we experience life through, how we view life based on the perceptions and the emotional accumulation. There's this whole big mass of us that we're connected to, and that we want to disconnect from that or resolve that, to not be carrying it with us. That's the real issue right there. And that is what is taught in the material. At no point in time can you extract from Jesus or from Buddha or Lao Tzu or anybody that there is a pineal gland that needs to be resolved or anything like that. But you do with every one of them. Every one of them right off the bat tell us that you become products of what you judge, and that if you don't judge things, you will stay free of it. Right there. And it goes from there. It doesn't go into anything different. It becomes how to resolve those issues. So with people having success with it, that's fine. I'm going to say that's a focal point. The mind makes it so. Faith makes it so. Do what is required to make it work. Sometimes I think people are actually not resolving those issues. I think what they're doing is finding ways of shifting and living from the higher awareness and leaving those in place, but having them not, you're kind of a lot more distant from them. You're not experiencing them as long as you're living through the higher awareness. However, when you're not paying attention, or if you get triggered, those are right there to just come right back online. So the person that's going to seek is going to realize, boy, those things are there and they're affecting me. They're a part of the mote in my eye, and I have to clear that out in order to see clearly. I've got to get that cleared out. And that would be it. So those are my thoughts. There's something very tangible to this. It's not mystical. It's not mysterious. What would change in a pineal gland? Think about it. How does it open? What is that? That's like, what happens in nature? What does that? Tadpoles. Tadpoles turning to frogs. Yeah, they're born one way with tails, but that goes off and their legs come in. Somehow some sort of morphing takes place as they develop as they're there. Morphing of, butterflies and things. You know what? The pineal gland doesn't do that. The pineal gland very specifically regulates melatonin, period, and whatever else they say on top of it, because there's some sort of an effectiveness. That effectiveness is there, but that effectiveness has nothing to do with the pineal gland. It has to do with the mind state of the person. So do whatever works. If it makes you feel better, do it that way. If you want to have better effectiveness in it, then if you understand exactly what it is, you can better interact with it. If I don't feel good and I keep meditating on my pineal gland and it kind of improves a little bit and it improves a little bit, but I sit off someplace and I'm in mental turmoil and I keep remembering these things and I'm worried and I keep getting triggered, then at some point that's not doing me any good. My real issue is in the third eye are the things that I continue to observe because they are a part of they're a part of the screen of my life. I see them emerge. I feel them. I'm experiencing them. They come from me. I must turn inward to resolve them. Those are the third eye. If you interpret the masters, if you listen to gurus, well, you listen to gurus and you listen to people. If you have somebody telling you to turn inward, it's yours. Follow the material. The material and our personal comprehension is where the authority comes from. If the authority comes from a lack of comprehension and listening to somebody else, we're not there. You go just look for a couple of videos, the YouTube gurus that talk about the pineal gland, and there's no shortage of people saying it is incredibly dangerous. If you open up your pineal gland, you can have a surge of energy pour through you that you have no control over, and it'll drive you crazy. And I go, really? Okay, I will stand against that one. That one's a funny one. Yeah. Prove to me somebody went crazy because they opened their pineal gland through meditation. And now they can't turn off the power of energy if it's doing what? Yeah, this is cartoonish at some point. All right. I don't mean to go that far with it here. People that are, a little more low-key with it aren't going that far with it. But come on. We're adults here with thinking skills. At least we should. Okay, hope the video was informative, interesting, and see you in the next video.